Today I wanted to explore what would happen if you blew up the atomic bomb in
Colin
Megaton,
Moriarty,
completely
at your
wiping out the
service.
city
You've
in
got the
Fallout
task.
3 before you even started the
My
Following in His
God,
Footsteps questline. In order to play through the Fallout 3 storyline in a linear and correct way, the first thing you're supposed to do is head to Megaton and talk to a man named Colin Moriarty, who will give you a little bit of information as to the direction your dad went. This is the first quest you are given, called Following in His Footsteps, and it can be completed in one of two ways, or really one of three ways. The first way is to actually talk to Colin Moriarty, either with 100 caps or perform a little side quest for him. The second way is to hack into his computer to find out where your dad went, and I believe there's also a third way in which you can convince Gob, if you have a high enough speech skill, to tell you where he went. But let's just assume for a second that none of those options were available to us. Let's just assume for a second that the entire town was decimated by a nuclear explosion. What exactly would happen then? I came to the conclusion that just killing Moriarty wouldn't be enough. As we've stated before, you can hack into his terminal and complete the quest that way. So in order to see what would actually happen, Megaton would have to be destroyed completely. So I'm actually planning on using this character that I've made for other Fallout videos, trying to break the quest lines, so I thought it would be appropriate to call myself Fallout Destroyer. My character's aesthetic means absolutely nothing, so I just went with a preset. So our first and only real objective was to get to Megaton and arm the atomic bomb as quickly as possible, so I won't bore you guys with the details of the vault as I rushed through it as quick as I could. I will tell you though that I put all of my special points into intelligence, so I'd have more skill points to distribute every time I level up. I do plan on using this character for other challenges and quests and things like that, so I thought I'd spend a bit of time developing him. I also put the difficulty down to Crybaby Easy mode, but this was just to make transitioning through the game and up to Colin Moriarty that much quicker. Since I thought I'd probably be coming back here one day, there was a few things I decided to do. I picked up the medicine bobblehead, I completely ignored Amada and Butch, and I rigged the goat exam. I decided to choose explosives as one of my tag skills, as it would make it that much easier to rig the atomic bomb later on. Now when it came to Butch, I decided to leave him alive, although I refused to help him because, you know, he's a bully and all that. I also threatened the Overseer to harm Amata if he didn't hand over his security passwords, and it kinda worked. Now, I decided to leave the Overseer alive as well because there might be some interesting stuff I can do with a future quest when we return to Vault 101, but we'll see what happens. Taking my first breaths of that sweet, nauseating, toxic air, I escaped the vault and leveled up. I put most of my points into explosives because, again, I knew I would need them to detonate the atomic bomb. I put the rest into small guns because that's primarily the weapons I'll be using. I also picked Gun Nut as one of my skill perks, but that's really useful for repairing small guns. Anyway, we very quickly made it to Megaton. You really can't miss it. It's right next to Vault 101. And I told the sheriff that his hat reminded me of Calamity Jane, a film I've only really seen once and don't exactly get the reference, although I know it's kind of like a cowboy film. And much like the style of the old westerns, I wandered in, a stranger, to the saloon to find everyone staring at me and someone asking me to blow their town up. Wait, what? Yes, that's right. There's a man in the corner called Mr. Burke, who is the employee of a man called Alistair Tenpenny, who runs a hoity-toity Tenpenny Tower somewhere in the southwest of the Capital Wasteland. Now, if you've never blown up Megaton before, I insist you try it. It is such an awesome feeling, although quite psychotic, I suppose. But anyway, that's the reason we're here. So, I was doing this experiment to find out two things. What would happen to the Following in His Footsteps quest line if you blew up Megaton after you got the quest from Moriarty, and what would happen if you blew up Megaton before you even meet Moriarty. So to start off, I actually talked to Moriarty and got a little side quest to get some caps from a junkie named Silver, at which point I completely ignored her and rigged the atomic bomb ready for detonation, at which point I had to walk across the Capital Wasteland toward Tenpenny Tower, There was no fast travelling option here. Now Roy Phillips' conversation was going on for far too long and wasted valuable time, so I decided he needed to die. On my second, third and final save file where I attempted this challenge, I've actually kept Roy Phillips alive, but that's because there's other quests I want to play about with, so for now I'm keeping as many people alive as possible. Anyway guys, the moment you've been waiting 5.5 minutes for, let's see what happens if you blow up Megaton before completing the following in his footsteps questline given by Moriarty. So as Megaton melts into a mushroom cloud, the following objectives appear saying that you've completed your investigation in the nearby town of Megaton in search of information for Dad, and it also opens a new objective saying continue your search for Dad. Now this is a serious problem. This is because the game doesn't actually give you a quest marker now, leaving you to wander around the wasteland aimlessly for the rest of eternity. Which means if you're a first time player of this game, you'll probably have to rely on one of your schoolyard chums to tell you what to do next. Of course, by this point you've probably already been kicked out of school due to failing everything by playing too much video games instead of doing your homework. You'll probably have to rely on the internet. Of course, you might have to stay off the internet as your partner works from home and you don't really want to disturb the internet connection for her while she works, as your internet provider won't provide fibre broadband to your town in 2022, giving you just enough to barely hold a stable Twitch stream. Or maybe you just live out in the sticks and don't have the internet at all. Well, how are you going to find out how to complete this quest and progress with the game? Well, after reloading the save, I decided this time I wouldn't talk to Colin Moriarty, and instead rig the atomic bomb and head straight for Tenpenny Tower, so this time I hadn't actually really started the following in his footsteps quest at all. And rather disappointingly, the same thing happens again. It says that you've completed the quest, and then it says look for your dad. Once again giving you absolutely no help. But since I've played Fallout 3 many times, there is one last thing that I wanted to try, which was to head to the GNR building to see if I could bypass this quest. I was kind of hoping that 3Dog wouldn't actually help me in any way until I completed the following in his footsteps quest, but unfortunately yes, you can skip it altogether and head straight to the GNR building. So there is actually more quests I want to explore. The next one I'm going to do involves 3Dog. There's something very interesting I want to try, and I'm sure you guys will agree, but I don't want to give any spoilers away about what that might be. So if you are interested in these kind of videos, do subscribe. There's something really stupid I want to try with 3Dog in the next Fallout video I make. I'm going to be making more Fallout and Oblivion content. The Pokemon stuff is really popular, so I'm going to keep going with that. But I really want to make more Fallout and Oblivion challenges and that kind of thing as well. So I just want to thank you all so much for watching today. Please like, subscribe and all that good stuff. Leave any comments if you do have any, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.